Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and welcome to this new video, which is a review of the Hard Deck Simulations fully functional carrier for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Okay, so before I get to the review for the carrier, I'm going to talk you through the installation of the module, because it may cause a couple of issues for some people, but it's pretty straightforward. First thing I recommend doing is going to flightsim.com, create an account there, and go to their homepage or article page. They've got some fascinating articles on all flight simulators, so X-Plane, Prepared 3D, and of course Flight Simulator 2020. They've got reviews, upcoming modules, files of the day. Fascinating site, and hopefully by the time you're watching this video you should see my article for the carrier module on here, my written article. So certainly go and make an account with flightsim.com. They've actually got a very friendly forum as well. As far as flight simulators go, this is one of the better forums I've seen for flight simulators, so certainly go and make an account with them. Then from here, click on the store page and you'll get to the store for flightsim.com. Type in carrier in the search box here and it should bring up the HDS Hard Deck Simulations carrier for Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you can see, it costs $14.95. That's about £11, €12, maybe €13. So it's quite a reasonable price a module for Flight Simulator 2020. Create an account here, add this to cart, buy it, and then on this store page, on your order page, you will also have the key. So keep the order page open. Obviously I'm not going to show you mine for obvious reasons, but when you buy it, keep the order page open because it's got your key there, which is important for installation. Okay, so when you bought the carrier module, you download a file which is an exe file, so you can put that wherever you want on your computer. I've got mine here. Obviously double click on that to install it. It's going to ask you for a place of where you would like the front end. This is not the actual module, it's just the front end. This can be wherever you want. I've got a drive, an M2 drive, basically just for my Flight Simulator 2020. So I'm going to put it on my M2 drive here, and that'll do. Carrier module. Next, now this is going to ask you for where your community folder is with Flight Simulator 2020. It actually tells you where the default folder is if you've installed the Steam version or the Windows Store version. Like I said, I've got a bespoke place where I've put my Flight Simulator 2020, which is on my M2 drive, my E drive. So I'll click on there, open that. It's in Flight Simulator 2020 for me. This is for me, it's going to be different for everybody of course. And there's my community folder. So I'll click OK there, and then click next. And I fully recommend, just for ease of finding the front end, you do need to run the front end every time you use the carrier module. Click on create desktop shortcut, go next, go install. This will just take a moment. And there you go. So now I'll launch the carrier module. It's actually the front end. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about here. Obviously, one of the first things you must do is go to activation. What you need to do there is go back to the store page. On your order, if you've bought this, on your order page, you will see a key. It's about 12 letters and numbers or something of that sort. Copy and paste that. Go to activate support. I've got mine activated already, obviously, but if you've installed this from fresh, you will find a button here called Activate. Click on that and then copy and paste that activation code in there. Another thing you'll see here is connect to Microsoft Flight Simulator once the sim is open. We'll have to open Flight Simulator 2020, which we'll do in a moment, and press connect. I fully recommend keeping that window on top of Flight Simulator. That's what that means, FS. Keep that ticked, and it's easy to hide this box in the corner, so it's no problem. Or once you've connected it, you can click the box and that will hide behind the simulator. The rest we'll talk about when we're in the simulator. So I'll tell you what, let's load up Flight Simulator 2020 and let's get going. Okay, so now in Flight Simulator 2020, once you have it fully loaded, just click on Connect there, and it simply connects straight away. Now, another thing you want to do, you want to find these carriers. If you go to this tab here, Carrier Locations and How To, it gives you some instructions there, but it gives you the carrier locations here. So you've got Key West, Car 1, San Francisco, Car 2, New York, Car 3, Gibraltar, Car 4, and Dubai, just Car, C-A-R-R. So how to get to these, you go to World Map, and I want to go to, let's see, I want to take off from San Francisco, why not? So in this search box here, just type in Car 2. And it should come up there, whatever you typed in, Car 1, 2, 3, 4, or Car. It should show you the carrier. So click on that, it will take you to it. And I'm going to go set as departure. Now, being the absolute rebel, I'm going to set the time a little bit later so it's daylight. Being the absolute rebel I am, the first thing I wanted to do is see how a Cessna, my favourite aircraft in Flight Simulator 2020, or it's the one I fly most, will respond with a carrier. How would this react? Well, let's go and find out. So here I am on deck on the San Francisco carrier. Now let's talk about a couple of more options on here. It says crashes must be disabled. With the Cessna, I've not found it a problem. If you're flying a fast jet, then yes, for now you do need to disable crashes. And how to do that, just press escape. Go to assistance, let's just move that window out of the way. So let's show you that. Escape, options, assistance, and there where it's got failure and damage, just click on that tab there, and crash damage, just change that to disabled if you're flying fast jets. With the Cessna, I've not found any problems, so I'm going to leave it as enabled. Let's move this box back up. You can change the launch speed if you want to and things like that. Launch only from catapult, so if you're not on a catapult, I seem to be here at the moment, it won't launch, it won't fast launch. You can disable that so you can launch, fast launch from anywhere. And other options here you can play with. Now I've got the carrier up and running, I'm going to hide this window completely, so I'm going to uncheck that box. It's up to you, you can either hide it in the corner, but I'm going to uncheck it and click on the main Flight Simulator 2020 window, and that box is now gone. Let's get inside the Cessna. Now this is pretty incredible. Actually, let's get outside and show you this. Have you ever seen a Cessna go from 0 to 70 in under 3 seconds? Well, let's power up and release parking brake. And look at that, we're at 70 knots already. Insane. Good fun. And this apparently works with any civilian or aviation aircraft. So if you want to go from 0 to 70 and even faster, quicker in some other aircraft, so if you've got jet aircrafts and goodness knows what, that launch will go a lot quicker. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do a loop of the carrier. Let's get back outside and see where it is at the moment. I'm going to loop round, and I'll bring you back when we're coming on our sort of approach for landing phase. So I'll be back in a moment. So we're slowly coming down. Let's speed down now. Pull our throttle down. Very easy to do. I suggest if you're not used to landing on carriers, go and try one of the light aircraft which are not too quick, like the Cessnas or the Icon or the Cub. Go and try one of them first. Practice a couple of landings, a couple of sorts of loops of the carrier, and then landings. Well, that's just a lot of fun. So I'm going to aim for the arresting wires of the carrier, and that should bring me to a full stop. Oh, actually a little bit off course there, making this harder than it needs to be. There you go, let's aim for those wires. And look at that, it caught me in the wires and I've come to a full stop. Well, certainly now I have. But of course you might be saying carriers are not meant for aircraft like Cessnas and aviation aircraft. What about the jets? Well, I've got the Eurofighter Typhoon on deck. I'm actually in the Gibraltar carrier at the moment. Doesn't that look fantastic? So let's see how this one performs. Now it says here crashes must be disabled. I'll have to see how this goes. Sometimes it's too quick and you do crash. Like I said before, to get to crashes, you go to escape. Let's just move the window out of the way. Go to assistance and navigation aids. Navigation aids, failure and damage. And then crash detection, switch that to disabled. Let's try our luck. Let's get rid of this window. Let's go full throttle. We'll do this out screen and watch the speed, the airspeed. The Typhoon's a quick aircraft anyway, but look how much quicker it suddenly gets. Full throttle. Release the parking brake. Look at that zoom. And it seems that I didn't need to disable the crash detection in Flight Simulator 2020. Now obviously this is going to be a bit more of a challenge to loop around the carrier and to land safely. I'm not going to put you through the pain of doing that. Maybe I'll save that for a future video. Instead, let's go back to the carriers and let's discuss more about the features and value of this package. So the carriers themselves look quite nice. They're well constructed. You've got jets lined up in parking bays around the carrier. These are on as default. I don't know if you can alter these, but those are there by default. You've got working radars, so you've got radar stations and goodness knows what that are twirling around, some moving parts. Like I said before, you've got the accompanying sort of cruisers or destroyers next to the carrier as well. Gives it a nice touch. They look quite good. It's not going to be on the same level and fidelity as the DCS World carrier. Let me link my review I did of the super carriers in DCS World. You're not going to have the same functionality in this carrier as you do with the DCS World ones, but the developers, so Hard Deck Simulations for this carrier, are actually looking to develop it more and bring out more updates in the future, so who knows what that will hold. But all in all, it's quite a nice feature for Flight Simulator 2020. If you're only flying in Flight Simulator 2020 and you want to see how carriers work and you want to be catapulted off and then you want to land and come to a full stop on the arresting wires, for the price of this, it's a steal. I mean, that's another thing you have to take into consideration. DCS World, yes, fantastic carriers, but you're paying a premium for them. And for one of the jets, I've got the FA-18C in that. And it cost me about £100 for the carrier and the FA-18C in DCS World. Whereas this, well, I actually got this free for review purposes. But if I were to buy this carrier module for about £11, the price doesn't compare. It's an absolute steal. So it's a full recommendation for me. And I'm going to leave you with one last tempting thought. Have you ever wanted to take off in an airliner from a carrier? Well, let's go and do that. And here we are. I'm dead serious. I've got the A320neo lined up on a carrier deck. Have you ever wanted to see an A320 go from 0 to 100 knots in under 3 seconds? Keep an eye on that airspeed. I'll throttle up, release the parking brake, and indeed it has. So there you go. Let's raise the landing gear. I'm certainly not going to fly a loop around the carrier and land this one at the moment. But there's my carrier review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Go and visit the flightsim.com website and go and read some of those fascinating articles. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon.